Sound clap 1, sound clap 2, sound clap 3. Molweni. Last time we spoke about how to reason logically, specifically spoke about falsification and the burden of proof. So in today's video we're going to speak about I'm going to speak about shifting the burden of proof and arguing from ignorance. You might notice, Uguti, that I touched on them in the last video, just made a quick reference to them. I didn't dive into them deeply, so this video is a short but deep dive into those ones. So let's get it. Shifting the burden of proof. Making a claim that needs justification, then demanding that the opponent justifies the opposite of the claim. The burden of proof is a legal and philosophical concept with differences in each domain. In every debate, the burden of proof typically lies with the person making the claim, but it can also lie with the person denying a well-established fact or theory, like other non-black and white issues. These are instances where this is clearly fallacious and those which are not as clear. So, let me give you an example. I have tiny invisible unicorns living in my anus. Person 2 says, how do you figure? Person 1 says, you can't prove that I don't. Person 2 says, you're right, I can't. Person 1 says, exactly. Checkmate? No. That is shifting the burden of proof. Person 1 made the claim, Uguti, they have unicorns in their anus. So, the burden of proof lies on who? On person 1 to prove that claim, not shift the burden of proof to person 2. So, again, it also goes back to unfalsifiability, right? The whole notion of the burden of proof helps identify and nip unfalsifiable claims in the bud. So because this is, technically person 2 could examine person 1's anus for fairies, but as they could do that technically. Let's say they did that, they don't find any fairies. Person 1 could simply claim, would say, nah, these fairies are invisible. So that's the importance of the burden of proof. If you make a claim, you have to substantiate it. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump into the second one. Arguing from ignorance. This one is simple. The assumption of a conclusion or fact based primarily on lack of evidence to the contrary, usually best described by absence of evidence, is not evidence of absence, that describes the argument from ignorance. So basically, it follows the form that X is true because you can't prove that X is false, or Y is false because you can't prove X is true. It basically says, if you can't prove what I'm saying wrong, that means I'm right. Remember what we spoke about, the burden of proof. If you make a claim, you have to prove it. So this is different from shifting the burden. Rather, you are arguing from ignorance. You're saying, if you can't prove me wrong, that makes me right. That's fallacious reasoning. Referring back to the previous video, I made an example where I spoke about cosmic teapot, I believe. The cosmic teapot, if I say that there's a teapot orbiting between Earth and Mars, and it's undetectable by our modern technology, who has to prove that claim? the person makes the claim. So if I make the claim that there's a cosmic teapot flying out there, I have to prove it. It's not good enough for me to say that there's a cosmic teapot, you can't prove me wrong, therefore I'm right. That is arguing from ignorance. So another popular example of arguing from ignorance is to this very day, at the time of this video, science has not been able to create life from non-life. Therefore, life must be a result of divine intervention. Okay, so how would that apply to arguing from ignorance? There is another fallacy at play here, which is a false dilemma, also known as a false dichotomy or a black and white fallacy. I'll make another video about that, but disregarding that, just because we have not, or science has not found a way to create life from non-life, doesn't necessarily equate to the fact that it was made divinely. That's just saying, because you don't know how, then that means my assertion is correct. Again, person A is saying, since person A is saying science does not know how to create life from non-life, person B says exactly, then that must mean that life was created divinely. Again, that is arguing from ignorance. But I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, the things for the algorithm. And yeah, anything else? No? Comment in the comment section below if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, argue with your ancestors. But yeah, thank you guys for your time. I will see you in the next one.